Hi, my name is Martin Press and welcome back to another episode on how to write your book. Now, over the last couple of weeks, I'm so happy with some of the emails that I've gotten, some of the Facebook posts that I've gotten, and people are asking some really great questions. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that. One of the questions I got was, Martin, I have so many first chapters. I don't know where to begin. I have so many stories, I don't know where to slide them into what section of the book. That's not a problem, actually. That's a great thing to have. It's a great problem to have, if you want to put it that way. So let me give you some advice on that. If you have a lot of material and you're not sure where to slide it into what section of the book, here's what you can do. First of all, your first chapter, I think, is one of the more important chapters of your book. It should become clear to you as you're writing what material should be said at the front of your book, because it will affect the rest of the material. Now, let's not forget here, we're not talking about fiction books. We're talking about non-fiction books in this series. We're talking about how-to books. So when I wrote my book, The Booyah Guide to Great Public Speaking, I made sure that I talked about how to open your presentation. After that, I thought, well, what's really important? The speaker should know all about the psychology of the audience. And after that, I thought it was really important that the speaker understood how to create really good content and pack it in really tightly so that a lot of information is available in a way that will keep the audience interested. But this didn't happen quickly. It happened slowly over time. And as I wrote the book, I actually didn't write it in sequence. I wrote it in terms of, today I feel like I'm going to write about the end of the book. Today I feel like I'm going to talk about using technology. Today I feel like I'm going to talk about lessons I've learned over the last 10 years. When the book was written, it all seemed to make more sense because I was able to say that these lessons are more important at the beginning of the book. These lessons can wait because if you can't do the initial stuff right, you can't get the last stuff right. So this is where you have to trust your gut instinct. What is important that they learned right off the bat? A baby needs to learn how to crawl before it can walk. The same thing goes for your audience. There are certain steps that they need to know at the beginning. If you are still struggling, this is what you can do. When I was working on my book, again, The Booyah Guide to Great Public Speaking, there was a few lessons that I was struggling with, so I sent it out to a few friends who are speakers. And as writers, what happens is we're often too close to our topic. What do? We have to get a high level view. To do that, you give it to somebody you trust. And I was able to ask some speakers, and they said, you know what, Martin, this particular lesson can wait until later on, but these couple of lessons here need to go sooner in the book, because if they can't do this section, they certainly cannot do this section later on. So don't be afraid to reach out, especially to people you trust, family, friends, experts in your industry, and ask them where they feel certain lessons should go in your book. But I'm going to go back to the first question. Martin, I have so many first chapters. All right, not a problem. Go over your first chapters, go over your ideas, and I know for certain that one of them will stand out as a great introduction to the book. It'll stand out as a great introduction to you and who you are as an expert in your industry and why people should read this book from you. That first chapter, in my opinion, is pivotal. If you don't capture the reader in the first chapter, you're certainly not going to keep them going in the later chapters. And something else I also want you to remember. For some reason, I have found that people who read how-to books don't read them from front to back. They seem to go from areas of interest. So sometimes they'll go right to chapter 6, and then they'll be like, today I want to read about chapter 4. People who read how-to books seem to bounce around. It's not everyone, obviously. It's how I do it, and it's how other people that I've spoken with at marketing seminars, I'm like, when you read your how-to books, how do you go through it? And it seems that people they bounce around the book depending on what they need on that particular day. Which is why I say to you, sometimes when you are sliding in your stories or your examples or your lessons, don't be overly concerned as to making sure that it's perfect, that each lesson is perfectly positioned in some sort of order, because the reader is also likely to bounce around a little bit. And the last thing I want to say about this is that you will change your mind. You will publish your book and you'll say, oh, I should have put this chapter in front of this one. Oh, I should have put this one later on in the book. It's something that you're going to sort of torture yourself with, and you just can't. You will always change your mind. When I look at my Booyah Guide, I look at it now and I'm like, oh, I should have, moved some stuff around. It's pointless. If I ever redo the book, or if I ever re-release the book, maybe I'll make a few changes that way. But overall, as you grow as a person, as you grow as an expert in your industry, you're going to want to make changes. And I always say this, the published book is always better than the unpublished book. So get your book out there. You might have a few regrets. The lesson learned here is do your best when you're writing the book. Ask around, trust your gut instinct, and let the book go. Let the world decide. Because as you position yourself as an expert in your industry, well, that's the most important thing, is to just get your knowledge out there, because people are looking for it. People are dying for information right now, especially during COVID-19. So many people are sitting at home reading and just soaking all this information up that they can right now because we have some extra time. So get your book done. All right, I'm Martin Press. I hope you enjoyed this session, and keep tuning in. We're going to have lots more stories and examples and book ideas for you coming up. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.